Yes, welcome into a College Loop special reaction video exclusive for our YouTube audience. Once again, this did pretty well last time, so I think we're going to keep rolling with it, Dylan. I'm Harrison Tarr, hanging out with Dylan Larck on Selection Sunday. Very big day for Bruce and the boys and for, well, let's be honest, 64, really 68 teams around the country. Very exciting day for a lot of young athletes that are getting the opportunity of a lifetime. They've got a clean slate and a clear path to the national championship. Whether that's easy or not, that's up for interpretation. We're here to talk Auburn. We're here to talk about the big picture and how we think the Tigers stack up in terms of the draw that Auburn received. We found out Sunday afternoon, Dylan, that Auburn would be competing in the Midwest, which puts their first matchup in Birmingham, Alabama, in the round of 64 and theoretically round of 32 should the Tigers make it there. First matchup is against 8 seed Iowa, and I think Auburn stacks up very well. Your 1 seed in this division is Houston, with your 2 seed being Texas. That's a hell of a basketball club. 3 seed being Xavier, and 4 seed being Indiana. Not a whole lot of point in focusing too much on the bottom half of that bracket because Auburn won't have to get there until you get to the Sweet 16 should that happen. Let's talk right now. And Dylan, I know that we're going to talk a little bit about ceiling floor of this bracket, but I want to talk right now about our thoughts overall for the Auburn draw. I mean, there's a roadblock in any bracket situation where you have to play a 1 seed at some point. Even if you make it all the way, you're probably going to have to play a 1, 2, or 3, or 4. It's just the way things shape out. I think that the opening matchup against Iowa is favorable. And then you presumptively have to play Houston, barring them melting down against Northern Kentucky, which we've seen 1 seeds fall to 16 seeds before, on exactly one other occasion. But it has happened. This is madness. That's why they call it March Madness. I think past that, if you find yourself dancing on that second weekend, if you find yourself in the Sweet 16, Auburn's in business. This bracket, I think, is the most favorable draw. Like I said, Houston isn't inevitable. A 1 seed isn't inevitable. It's one of those things that you can't get around. What are your thoughts? If you're an Auburn fan here and where's your head at right now? You know the state of where this team's at right now. But you look at the road ahead and it doesn't feel impossible. Right?
It's just something about the Auburn teams in general. You just go into a playoff situation kind of like this and you're like, oh, well, maybe if Auburn gets hot, they can do this. If Auburn gets hot, they can do that. And we saw the Arkansas game. We had a lot of gripes with it, but overall, I thought that the offense from like KD Johnson and Wendell Green played out pretty well. And honestly, between Bama, Houston, Purdue, and Kansas, Auburn got probably the least of the 4. I know they're all 1 seeds, so I mean they're still all really good teams. But of the 4, Auburn probably got the 4th best, which works out in your favor, especially with the first round going against Iowa. Auburn's had a size issue all season. And it looks like with Iowa, Auburn pretty much has a size advantage, which is something we're not used to seeing. And it looks like Janai Broome is going to be a get-right game for him. This upcoming 4-day stretch for him is going to be huge. And sure, if he's not feeling up to par, something's up with him. But he's got to get back right. And I mean, looking around, the only teams I don't want to say the only teams I'm worried about, but looking on, if Auburn was to hit a ceiling at some point they had to play against Texas A&M again. So that's my one gripe with this bracket.
Texas A&M looked pretty rough today in the SEC championship game. I mean, granted, I think Alabama is they are one of the best teams in the country. Obviously, they are a 1 seed. Here we are. I do want to look around the country for a second here, and we usually keep things very, very Auburn-centric, but I'm going to talk about something that, plug your ears, Auburn fans. Let's address the elephant in the room, and I mean that in the punny sense as well. Let's talk a little bit about the Tide, and let's compare here. I don't talk a ton of Alabama basketball. We're not really going to get into the X's and O's. But Alabama, for you Auburn fans, if and when Auburn gets bounced out of this tournament, if Alabama's still dancing, and this is a lot of independent factors, right? You're going to be cheering against Alabama, we know. And quite frankly, most of the country will be on your side. Alabama's got a pretty tough road. Yeah. They've got a pretty tough. Now they get a first 4-in team in their first game, which should be a blowout victory. Then you have to play Maryland or West Virginia. And I know that both of those teams feel like that they couldn't hang with Alabama. West Virginia is annoying. They are so annoying to the point where they could really annoy Alabama. Then you get San Diego State or Charleston. I'm sorry, the either San Diego State, Charleston, Virginia, or Furman. You would presumptively assume Virginia or San Diego State. Either one of those teams, I think, could give Alabama fits. And then you get down to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, and you're looking at Arizona's on this in this part of the bracket. I mean, they are a damn good basketball team. Missouri gave Alabama fits. Baylor, Creighton could make a little run there. They're a good shooting team, and they're kind of hot at the right time. Auburn fans, there's a lot of reason to be invested in this year's tournament. That's all I'm going to talk about Bama basketball, Dylan. But it was important we bring it up because I think that Auburn may or may not have dodged a bullet.
Yeah, if you look at other teams that are playing well this year, I mean, Duke's going to be a little worried. They had to play Oral Roberts in the first round. And if you remember, they were a Cinderella team a few years ago. A lot of teams should be shaking in their boots a little bit based on these first draws. I mean, March Madness is March Madness for a reason. If you're a single seed, you still might lose to a 15 seed. It doesn't matter what happens. It's just going to happen because the teams that are ranked the lowest usually get hot at this moment in time.
Sure. I couldn't agree more, Dylan. And with that, it's not necessarily the best team that wins the national championship. It's the team that wins 5 games first. I mean, AJ Rivera said it the best. And it's really about what team gets hot, which team's lighting it up from perimeter, and who's knocking down free throws, which we've seen Auburn struggle, but who knows? Maybe a light flip switch just goes off because, I mean, we've seen crazier things. Let's not look that far back beyond St. Peter's and Doug just a year ago, and they were fun. Doug, dog, sound alike for a reason. I'm excited about March Madness in general. I love filling out my brackets, which is why we've opened up the College Loop Bracket Challenge. I'm going to plug this real quick, Dylan, then we'll talk ceiling and floor. Is that okay?
Works for me.
If you are a fan of college basketball and you're a fan of the College Loop, boy, do we have an opportunity for you. We've got a really, really, really exciting opportunity to give some stuff away here on the College Loop. Going to leave that up to interpretation for now. We're working on the minute details there, but I think we've got a pretty clear idea of what this prize pack.
I might be putting a link somewhere
to the
bracket there challenge around this time. Yeah, it might be. I would do something.
Perfect. But you heard me, Dylan. Prize pack. Looking at getting some cool stuff headed to the winner of the College Loop Bracket Challenge. If you think you're smarter than the guys in the College Loop, I got really good news for you. You probably are, because we watch ball too much to know ball. I think in March that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, we are very prone to overthinking. I was all on board with. I think I was going with Baylor last year. Was going to be my team, and then they got bounced pretty early. So I was like, oh, that's fun. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that
we also gaslight ourselves more than anyone in the world. But if you love college basketball, if you love the College Loop, if you love one of those two factors independently, that's fine too. Join the College Loop Bracket Challenge. The winner's going to get a really, really cool prize pack from us. We'll make sure it's delivered to your door. We've got evidence to back up that we give away our giveaways. We're good. We're good for it, guys. And we do this for you guys. We don't do it for us. We do it because we love ball and we love Auburn. We have an opportunity to talk a lot more ball this week, and we're going to be previewing that Iowa matchup, I'm sure, on the Tuesday and Thursday show. And if Auburn finds themselves matched up with the presumptive Houston this weekend, you can guarantee there will be a special show, no matter what that looks like going down the road. Dylan, speaking of Houston, floor and ceiling for this Auburn team in the 2023 installment of March Madness.
Oh, so I'm looking at the floor. I'm going to go with the floor is going to be first round bounce.
Sure.
I feel like that's the floor for anybody, but it seems more realistic once you get to the more even teams, like Auburn being a 9, playing an 8 seed. I mean, it feels reasonable. That's the floor. Ceiling. Oh boy. I don't even know where to begin with the ceiling.
I think mine's pretty easy.
I'm going to say Elite 8.
Okay. My floor is a first round bounce and my ceiling is a Sweet 16. I don't know that Auburn has the gas in the tank to go past that second round and keep making noise. I just think eventually the matchups don't make sense. Quite frankly, if you play Houston, I don't think the matchups make sense then. But I do think Auburn has a very favorable matchup with Iowa. I think that they should be counting their blessings. I'm not saying any game's easy, and God knows nothing is given in March. / April. This tournament runs over. That's a little bit of false advertising. But I don't know that this team is built for a Final Four run, even under Cinderella circumstances. I just don't think that they are. Now, that being said, Auburn fans, you're welcome. I can't wait to be part of the cut-up video if that happens. Make sure someone sends the link into Auburn video, and we will give them the licensing rights, and I can be part of the hype video. That's fine. I don't care. But I don't necessarily have, and I'm a sunshine pumper. I really do. I don't have the goodwill to be able to say Auburn's going to be an Elite Eight team if they can piece things together. Now they beat Houston. Who the hell knows? Who really knows? They gotta beat Iowa first, and Houston's got to win their first round matchup.
Hey, also, there's two teams in this bracket alone that Auburn fans are a little too aware of. Looking at Texas A&M on the other side of the Midwest bracket, and a team that bounced Auburn last season in Miami. So Auburn is going to be on the lookout for those. And another team is on this bracket, Colgate.
Yeah.
Colgate gave Auburn a little bit of a fit last time. And
Colgate's a good basketball team. They are a very good basketball team.
They snuck right in with a 15 seed. And if they can find a way to get by Texas A&M, another team they're going to have to play if they make it. Auburn's got three teams in this bracket alone that they should be very familiar with. Exactly.
And hyper aware. I will say this to build off of that before we wrap this up. Like we said, this is going to be a short reaction video. You guys seem to like these, so we're going to keep hitting these. If Auburn can get past a presumptive Houston, I don't want to assume anything, because if the more I say Houston, the more that my back bracket will be busted in weekend one. The table is set for an Auburn revenge tour, in theory. It's there. And that's a storyline that we will monitor if Auburn finds themselves playing on the second weekend. And if Auburn finds himself playing on the second weekend, Dylan and I will be happy for two reasons. One, we will be able to say, hey, we at least thought they could be here. And two, we can keep making content. But it should be interesting to shake out. For those of you watching at home, first off, thanks for being here. Second off, click like and subscribe on this video. Make sure you're hanging out with us as much as you can on the College Loop. Tell us the content you want to see. Who do you have winning March Madness? That's what I want to know. We'll see it in your bracket picks, but I don't get to see them play the Locke, so I want to see them before then. I love talking brackets. I can make a bracket about the best kinds of brackets. It's just how my brain works. You're the same way, Dylan. You know you love a good bracket.
Oh, yeah. I had a bracket last year that was just what mascot would win in a fight.
Exactly. I will make 35 brackets. It will be my pastime. Sorry to my boss at work this week. It's just going to be the way that things shake out. For everybody that, like I said, if you're interested in joining the College Loop Bracket Challenge, very excited to have you guys there. I know that almost all of our returning guests are going to be in the Bracket Challenge, so come see if you can beat Brooks Walton. I'm going to hit up Anders and see if he wants to join. See if you can beat Anders Carlson. See if you can beat Owen Papo. So that's coming up on the Tuesday show. So that'll be really exciting. Get to talk to him in a couple minutes. Until next time, I am Harrison Tarr, @by Harrison Tarr on Twitter. You can find all of my written work at the Auburn Daily, all of my other podcasting work at the Auburn Daily Show every Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday with Dylan Larck, Friday with the legendary Lindsey Crosby, and Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday right here on the College Loop. Dylan, I'll see you here in a little bit.
All righty. Well, make sure to go follow Daniel J. Locke on Twitter.
Great.
And follow me on the Auburn Daily Show as well. I am on there every Wednesday with Harrison Tarr and Mondays with Lance Daw. We have a couple of ideas coming up for me and Lance because we're both a couple of content creators, if you will.
Color me intrigued.
But also follow the College Loop literally everywhere. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. Social medias are all YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, but sadly do not quite have that MySpace page yet.
We're putting that on a t-shirt when we get merch.
Yeah, might as well. But that being said, it's been the College Loop reaction episode.